The Kentucky Blood Center opened a new location in one southern Kentucky city this morning. WYMT's Dakota Makris explains how the location benefits donors in the Tri-County area.
It's a typical day inside Kentucky Blood Center's newest Corbin location as people work to bring more donation opportunities to the region.
We plan to kind of roll it out slow and not do a big grand opening event till we had our feet under us, but word got around that we were opening this donor center.
Saying the new location is convenient for those who live around Corbin. But before you go, just make sure you schedule an appointment. A spokesperson tells us they do this for a few different reasons.
Just helps us manage social distancing. I think we've all become a little attuned to also having that convenience of knowing when I come in, I'm going to get processed pretty quickly.
The organization saw 14 donors sign up to donate Monday morning, which will go a long way. People working at the center tell us one person can save up to 3 lives with a single donation.
Your blood gets separated into components, and those different components help in different situations with hospital patients.
Saving lives one drop at a time. In Corbin, Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News.
We are told the first person to donate today was a universal blood donor. We will hear from her coming up tonight at 6. One Floyd County graduation was like many across the region, but within the pomp and circumstance was the story of a young man who overcame circumstances of his own. The Betsy Lane High School class of 2022 took its trip across the stage last week, during which graduate Connor Lockhart told the story of his trip to the States. The salutatorian, who spent the first 6 years of his life in a Russian orphanage, worked his way to the top ranks of his class, finding a passion for STEM at the Floyd County School of Innovation.
There was no way I could have been where I am now in Russia, you know? There was no chance at all. If it wasn't for my adoption, I wouldn't be where I'm standing now.
Hear more about Lockhart's life and his challenge to the class of 2022 coming up at 6.
Well, it's been dry for much of us today. However, some of our western sections already getting in on the potential for some showers and storms as we watch the potential for some stronger storms out to our west. Let's back that up and you'll see what I'm talking about from our camera at the University of Virginia at Wise. The High-Nom camera, mid-70s out there right now. Plenty of sunshine, just a few fair weather clouds, but a few high clouds sneaking in as well. You'll notice we head out west to Hazard, out front of the WYMT studios. Things are building up a little bit more. You see those clouds are just a little taller. They got a little more heft to them. Well, that's because we've got showers and storms developing out to our west and the environment getting better for showers and storms throughout the region. Low to mid 80s out there for many. Harlan's at 79, Wise at 75. Our exceptions to the rule right now, but most of us on the warm side. Dew points low 60s, even upper 50s. So we don't quite have the moisture that they do out to the west, where we continue to see dew points in the low to mid 60s out into the Cumberland Valley and into the Bluegrass. We see a few showers and storms already developing out into that section of the region as you head towards Mount Vernon, Somerset, and even Monticello, seeing a few showers and storms. The big action so far today has essentially been from areas near the state capitol and on to the north and east, where they continue to deal with severe thunderstorms to the north and east of Cincinnati. That's where the greatest risk will be. In fact, that's where the severe thunderstorm watch is across central Kentucky. You see, though, another band of showers and storms working in to the western parts of the state, and it'll have to move on out before we're completely done with showers and storms. So they'll be with us this evening with lows in the mid-60s. I'll have the latest on the greatest opportunity for those showers and storms and when they move out coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. The House Select Committee investigating the January 6th attack is promising to show Americans never before seen evidence of the most violent assault on the Capitol in more than 200 years. It starts with a primetime hearing Thursday night about the effort by former President Trump's supporters to stop President Biden from succeeding him. CBS's Scott McFarland is on Capitol Hill.
An assault unlike any in American history has led to an investigation unlike any other. Now the findings will be presented in prime time.
The public hasn't seen it woven together, how one thing led to another, how one line of effort to overturn the election led to another.
A special committee of 7 Democrats and 2 Republicans have held a series of high-profile interviews and depositions with key members of former President Trump's inner circle, members of his family, even accused rioters themselves, including those charged with conspiring to violently attack and others of conspiring to orchestrate the riots. In recent court filings, the committee has shown some of its cards, stating it has enough evidence to believe that Trump conspired to defraud the U.S. Congresswoman Liz Cheney, vice chair of the committee, spoke to it on CBS Sunday Morning.
Was it a conspiracy?
I think certainly, I mean, look, if you look at the court filings,
Do you believe it was a conspiracy?
I do.
Republicans have largely boycotted the panel after also blocking plans for an independent commission, including leader Kevin McCarthy, one of 5 House Republicans who also defied committee subpoenas seeking interviews about what Donald Trump knew and when.
So is this really a legitimate committee, or is this a political committee going after their opponents?
But Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn, who helped defend the Capitol January 6th, says there is more at stake.
I want justice. I want accountability, and I want justice for what me and my coworkers went through.
The big hurdle might be capturing America's attention. Video presentations and live witness testimony are expected at the hearings, all of which are expected to be completed this month. But one member of the committee tells me the interviewing and investigating will continue even after the hearings begin. Scott McFarland, CBS News, Washington.
The House Select January 6th committee has completed more than 1,000 interviews and collected nearly 140,000 documents. President Biden is set to appear on Jimmy Kimmel Live on Wednesday. Kimmel tweeted the announcement Sunday night, saying it was, quote, no malarkey. The president is set to tape an appearance for the late night show while he's in Los Angeles this week. President Biden is scheduled to travel to L.A. to host the 9th Summit of the Americas. One leader who will not be at that summit, Mexican President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, who has confirmed that he will not attend, dealing a blow to the event hosted by President Biden. The decision follows a dispute about the guest list. Lopez Obrador wanted Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela to be invited, but Washington did not want to include autocratic governments. The Mexican leader said Monday that there cannot be a summit if all countries are not invited. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson faced a vote of confidence in Parliament today. The vote comes amid backlash for parties at Downing Street held during the COVID lockdowns. Johnson survived the vote with 211 supporting Johnson in the vote against 148 who voted against him. He will likely seek to frame the result as a chance to move on, but the slim margin of victory means his job security remains in peril. The U.S. Armed Forces and Japan Self-Defense Forces held a joint drill on Sunday following North Korea's multiple missile launches on the same day. Officials said in a statement that the exercises were to demonstrate the readiness of the U.S.-Japan alliance to respond to regional threats. In a separate statement released on Sunday, the Japan Joint Staff said the bilateral exercise demonstrates the close cooperation between Japan and the United States in addressing the ballistic missile threat and contributes to regional peace and stability. And South Korean and U.S. forces launched 8 missiles on Monday morning in response to North Korea's missile launches. The South Korean and U.S. missiles were fired at the water off the east coast of the Korean Peninsula. The move comes as the South Korean Joint Chiefs of Staff issued a statement to strongly condemn North Korea's continuous ballistic missile provocations in the region. Several World War II veterans attended D-Day ceremonies in France commemorating the 78th anniversary of what many consider the turning point for Allied forces in Europe. Visits and services have been, for 2 years, been reduced to a minimum due to COVID-19 restrictions. U.S. veteran Charles Shea gave what he said was his last appearance at Omaha Beach. The 98-year-old Native American from Maine took part in a sage burning ceremony near the beach. When asked if he had a message for the younger generation, this is what he had to say.
They should protect their freedom that they have now, and if they have to fight again for it, well, there's nothing we can do about it.
Shay, who now lives in Normandy, was a 19-year-old U.S. Army medic when he landed on June 6, 1944. Several thousand people were expected Monday at a ceremony later at the American Cemetery overlooking Omaha Beach. Coming up on First at 4, as regulators continue to try and cut down on illegal robocalls, criminals are continuing to exploit loopholes.
And we continue to watch showers and storms move back into the region as soon as tonight. The very latest details coming up.
WYMT News app offers alerts on breaking stories as they happen, customized to the categories you choose. The WYMT News app.